What's up, guys? Just going to do an update on the car front to back on this chassis. We just got the 25-1H certification. Had a guy from out of town come in and do that for us. So we're really excited to have a certified chassis that's complete. We've been keeping up with the hours. People wonder how long a chassis like this takes. And we've been working on this thing on the side. Big thanks to Cody Franklin at 4-Rod Fab. He's been working on this thing on the weekends and just on the side for almost the past year. Since March of this year is when we started with the clean slate. And I've been giving my input, and Joey Anthony, my partner here at Rock Solid, he's been helping as well. And between all three of us, we've built this thing exactly like I wanted it, with everything in mind. Followed the rules, but also just made the chassis our own. And Cody, he's laid all the pipe on this thing, done most of the welding and design and stuff. He's really took a lot of time to think it out and make it just the best he can for us. And we definitely appreciate that. Him working late nights and weekends trying to get this done this year for us and be involved. He's been involved with us from the beginning on this car, helping us at races, different things. But it's just pretty cool that we could see a full chassis start to finish come together like this. We'll start on the front. It's going to be a one-piece lift-off front. So we got custom hooks here. Normally a 3/4 inch tube, but we're going to use 5/8 because this is such a small car. Of course, we've got the Maven mount here for the turbo support. We always use those to hang the turbos. This is a big 104 NLX from Bullseye. It's kind of based around a GT55. It's got the billet back on it, stainless V-band housing. We got the innovative style limiters right there. That's what most people are going to now. Really slick. Use the original rack off the old setup. We just had to cut it down because the control arms are really short. Custom made control arms in the house with spherical bearing right there. Don't have to have grease or anything. It's got the nylon in there, so it's you don't have to worry about that. The Brakeman brake setup. With AFCO Terminator coilovers. These are awesome. As I've said before, those are the Tim McAmis adjustable strut cups. You can adjust ride height independently from your preload, which is a very nice option. These things ain't cheap. They're $750 for a set. So if you're gonna build your car like a pro mod, get ready to pay. I think people, when they build a car from scratch like this, it really opens your eyes on what these things cost. Nice steering shaft right there. We got that kit from Quartermax. Comes with the heavy duty apex joints. You order those supports separate depending on how many you need, but it's really slick. Comes with the Pinto rack style end on it for your splines. And check out this mid plate. You see a lot of the pro mods enclosing the whole midsection with the mid plate, kind of using it to close off the engine bay as well as hold most of the load of the block. Because we're using a stick shift, we couldn't use something really thick. We had to use 1/8 inch or it's 11 gauge hot rolled is what that's made out of. But with your QuickTime bell housings, for your stick shift guys, they come with a 1/8 inch plate that goes in between them and the motor, which is made to close in that bottom area there and contain the clutch and all that stuff. I mean, as far as protection. Well, when you put a mid plate on there, it screws with your clutch spacing, so we just ditched that plate that come with it and drew it up where the mid plate is now that plate. So it's just like the plate that comes with the QuickTime bell housing. It's just now the entire area there is closed in, and it's welded in, or the plate itself is not welded in, it's actually bolted in, and there's a flange on the back of it where you can take that whole mid plate out with the engine. See, we X-brace the chassis in the front. Shows you how the steering attaches right there. Alright, the doors. These are fiberglass doors from John Washington at Z-Trix, I believe it is. They fit pretty good. It's a little bit tricky trying to figure out how to use like the drag racing style hinges with these doors, because these doors actually go into the body when they open. So we just massaged that a little bit to give that corner some extra clearance. And these doors really haven't been fit. They've just been mounted and just eyeballed, because we're going to send this thing to Dark City Customs here after I get the front end mounted. Sorry, lost my train of thought. And he's going to do the door latches and line up all the fiberglass pieces, the front end. After I get it mounted, sand all the edges, make everything fit nice. You'll see there's some pieces on this thing that's kind of, it was rusted out, but we cut it so we could weld the, get my finger right there, we could weld right there where it's, the weld beads are. That's what held it on the table. So all that stuff's gonna be fixed, smoothed out. See, we need a little bit of tire clearance there, but we want to keep it as tight as possible because that always looks good. But we got the doors mounted. Just set it there. You see the inside here. We got removable cross member, front cross member, which is part of the spec, but we also got the removable rear trans cross member. I hated having to pull the transmission out from inside the car in the old setup. It's just really tough. I mean, the transmission weighs a lot, and getting it lined up and everything, it just sucked. You can see the bolt flange going around there. Actually got stainless nuts welded on the back, so you just run the bolt in from the front. There's no nuts to hold or anything. The dash bar right there, it ties back in to the mid plate right there. Just makes everything super strong with it tied in like that. Cody done a really good job of thinking things out like that. We got Larry Jeffers steering wheel. Thing don't weigh anything. It's like a piece of paper. But quick release. And Maven Performance made us some custom center caps with our logo on them that look super sick. I'll put some more about those in the future. This whole chassis was just so much better. It's tucked all the way up to the roof. We actually lifted the body off this car and welded everything. So there's nothing like halfway welded like most of your chassis that they're built in the car and the car body isn't lifted off. There's no way to weld everything. But we actually lifted this car body off, welded everything, then I shot some primer on it where it didn't set up rust where the paint will never see. Got our own little seat brackets there. You can see the doors line up pretty good. Going to the back, got the anti-roll bar back in. It's JRI coilovers in the back. This is an 8/8 rear out of a Ford F-150, 3 1/4 axle tubes. They've been welded. You know, there's not much of them. Got 9-inch ends on it. All new 4-link stuff. See if I can get a better view of it. Custom brackets. See how much longer they are than they used to be. They're almost double the length as they used to be. That'll give us a lot better suspension geometry. Get the parachute. Got a spot where we can hook a pusher bar on, because we're going to be pushing this thing around now. 29.5s in the rear. Get this car on a little bit more rubber. New wishbone setup. This area in the back, it used to be the hatch. We've got some pieces getting laser cut that are going to come out like this, be like little weld ribbons. We're going to weld it all the way around there, and we're going to Lexan the entire thing, so it's not even going to have a hatch on it. It'll come all the way down to here, all the way across, and it'll have bolts all the way around. So that's going to drop about 30 pounds off the weight. Also going to get that roll pan fixed in the back. It's got the holes where the old bumper used to go through. And still got the original Wheelwood 4-piston brakes in the back. This is Billet Specialties 15 by 12 wheels, double bead lock, 4.5-inch back spacing. They're street lights. The fronts are 1 3/4 back spacing, 4-inch wide, they're 15s. This area in here, I think we're going to close it completely in, just with a piece of carbon or something like that. Ain't really decided. Got to find somebody to make a Lexan window for this thing. Of course, you can't buy anything like that for these cars that I've seen. So we got the windshield over here laid up on the table. If anybody knows anyone that can replicate that with Lexan. There's the bell housing and trans. Of course, Tick Performance takes care of our transmissions. That's their built trans with G-force gear set, just like it's in the Grub Worm and any other fast T56 car. This car, like it sets right now, was 1,099 pounds with the turbo on it and everything, just like this. So we might be a little bit lighter than we thought we was going to be. We'll see. That's the update. I might have said it already. People ask how long it takes to build a chassis like this. Now Cody, most of his time was done at night, not during work hours or on the weekend. So he was here by himself. We wasn't here, or we was here very briefly. So, you know, had the radio blasting, just him in the car, and there's about, I think, 234 hours in just the tubing layout in this thing. And everything that was involved with plotting it out, fixturing it on the table, making sure everything was straight. And you know, you can check any bar in this thing, everything matches. There's nothing out of whack. It's just, I couldn't ask for a better built chassis. And it just feels good that it was done here in the shop. So people ask us all the time, you know, what would it cost to build a chassis like that for me? Or, I mean, the answer is we don't really get into doing chassis work this heavy right now. This was just, you know, this has been a year-long project that's on the side, and Cody handled most of it, like I said, so we didn't really have to put a ton of time in it ourselves away from the customer cars. But, you know, just for a couple guys in the shop, this is a little bit extensive for what we do with everything else going on. So about an 850 cert is where we stop at the current time. But this just shows that, you know, our team can build a rock solid chassis. Haha, a little joke there, but I think I've covered most everything. The plans for this week is to get that front mounted. Got some stuff coming for it in the next couple days, and get it over to Dark City Customs and let them rough it in. And then it's coming back here, and we're going to start building the headers, mounting the motor, doing all the fun stuff. The sheet metal, that's not fun at all, but that's going to get done too. So I'll update next time. Thanks again to Four-Eyed Fabrication, Cody Franklin, for the entire chassis. Got Bullseye sitting in there, their NLX 104. Got Maven Performance, Larry Jeffers, Billet Specialties, Quarterbacks, AFCO, Custom by Biggin did the rear end, or set it up. Trying to think of who else. I think that's about a JRI, coilovers in the rear. You know, everything seems to be good there. As far as how they're operating based on how we jack the car up and everything. So till next time, hopefully we'll have a body mounted on it, and have the real engine setting in it, and sent the intake lid off to get a burst panel put in it. So hopefully have that back where we can put the intake on there. All right, see you next time.